Welcome to Let's Talk Boobs. This is our Christmas clip edition. We just wanted to give you guys a little something since we've kind of just been off the camera. And,
MIA.
MIA, yeah. And so I love the holidays, so I bought, Dollar Store has been going all out, like all this stuff, Dollar Store. Love, love, love. So I really want to do a Christmas edition because I have all of these fun things, and I wanted to just have a fun centerpiece. And
Humbug.
he is the Scrooge, and I am Cindy Lou Who.
Oh, I'm on a new diet plan. Drink heavily.
One thing I wanted to say that's dear and near my heart is one of my good friends. Well, he was a good friend when I lived in New Jersey. I haven't been able to keep in touch as much since I've moved to Nashville. But when I worked at Houlihan's, New Jersey, David Orifice was one of the most incredibly friendly, humble, modest people that you would ever meet. He would always find something to talk to you about. Like, he would always find a common ground to talk to you about. Like, he never had an enemy. And he'd always make you smile. And he had that thick New York accent. And he was awesome. And, like, I just loved having cigarette breaks with him. And we really, really miss him. I don't know as of yet what happened, but there's a memorial service. And, you guys who are friends with them, just leave comments. And if you want to send me some videos, I can put together a little special montage that we can put on the podcast just to kind of give him a little memorial service for all of you who couldn't make it to his actual funeral because of COVID. So I just wanted to send a shout out to one of the most amazing people I've ever met in my entire life. Just really good guy, and he was taken from us way too early. Rest in peace, David. You were one of the best people in the entire world I've ever met.
It's been a tough year.
It has. 2020 has been a rough year. But so moving on to what we're going to be doing now. We have recorded a lot of stuff. We just watched a lot of it because we've just been recording.
We've recorded a lot of video.
Yeah.
We have a lot of video. There may have been a holiday incident to where maybe we lost some audio. And this time it was not the technical director over here.
So what we've been working on, we've filmed a lot of content because as we said that we wanted to kind of move into a variety show. So we have a lot of ideas, and we're testing out and seeing what works and what doesn't work, and what we think works when we film. And what we don't think works when we film, it's kind of the opposite. Like, what we think works, right. We're just like, ooh, this is bad.
I got a great idea, and then we film it and go,
Yeah, we watch it.
And then we go, oh, I don't think that was very good at all. We're like, yeah.
And it was hilarious. Like, oh, man, it was just, we're just going to throw some clips out there of just what we've been working on, just so we can get something out to you guys and keep you interested and keep you stimulated. And we always want to keep you stimulated. I said stimulated.
Did you? Sound like stimulated.
We're going to roll back the film. You ready for this?
You know what? It could not be.
Be stimulated.
You know what? I don't hear very well, and now I've got a bunch of.
You don't hear very well. Neither do I. We're both a bunch of deaf people, and then when we go back and we were like, oh,
yeah, maybe.
Did we say that? And then we watch it, we're like, did we say that? Because we can't hear it even then. It's Christmas time. We both love the Christmas season. I love decorating.
Do we?
Well, I love it.
She loves it.
I have every Christmas movie known to man. However, I don't have Scrooge, so. Christmas ideas. I want Scrooge
Gremlins?
With Bill Murray. No.
That's a Christmas movie.
Also, so question. I've had this question asked to me before. I don't like to admit that it is, but it is. All men say that it is. Do you think that Die Hard is a Christmas movie?
Yes.
Leave it in the comments below. I want to hear your thoughts.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
And
why is he home, though? Why is he at Nakamura Tower?
I'm telling Christmas. You right now, it is. I know to be Christmas.
And
as
I think partly though, after the first one I think was at Christmas, but there's been 17 Die Hards from that point on. But I think it was also released at Christmas, so I think it became one of these.
Yeah.
Associated with But
So
the original Die Hard,
and
100%.
yeah, so we get a meeting at my job every week from like the main guy, and he's like, "What can we do?" Because we work for a third-party company for a big company, and he's like, "What can we do?" And he tells us our performance and everything. And this girl just keeps coming up to us and like asking us all these questions. She's like, "I need to ask you guys a question. Okay, I'm gonna ask you guys a question. Do you consider Die Hard a Christmas movie?" And I was like, "Tell you right now, my husband, my brother-in-law, they all consider it like their favorite Christmas movie." And
Oh,
so
I
the
don't know
guy,
about favorite.
well, that's theirs. But the guy who's like works for the big company, and he's like, we're trying to work as he's like the mediator of like the bond and the merge. And he was like, I had my daughter watch it. She's young. Had her watch it, and she didn't know what question's gonna come next. And he's like, "What'd you think about it?" She's like, "Not that bad for an old movie."
You keep getting wrangled up into the captain there's little tassels. That's
Not
cute.
that bad for an old movie. And then he's like, next
come
question.
on, it's Bruce Willis.
But first of all,
Bruce Willis.
I'm gonna say right now, I don't think that Bruce Willis is that incredible an actor. Watch some of his stuff. Okay, maybe Sixth Sense, probably his most like.
Die Hard is an amazing movie.
Have you seen his acting skills though?
Fifth Element.
Even Alec Rickman, he's supposed to have a German accent.
Alan Rickman.
I said Alan Rickman, and even half the time he's supposed to have a German accent and it's English, and I'm like, it's a great cheesy, terrible Christmas action. What is it? 90s movie? Is it Pulp Fiction? He doesn't really do that great of an acting in Pulp Fiction. I mean, but it's like the same role.
Zed's dead, baby.
Okay, anyways. But it's the same role. And
okay, so we're going to agree to disagree.
Squirrel.
Agree to disagree.
But
Bruce Willis is amazing.
The person who's the merger asked his daughter the second question and was like, "So do you think that's a Christmas movie?" And she was like, "Yeah, I'd say it's a Christmas movie." So a person who's never seen it before, who's of the younger generation,
so you're going with her
like
word.
preteen, considers it a Christmas movie. So, I mean, I could also leave in the comments, is Edward Scissorhands a Christmas movie? Yes, to me it is, because he invented snow. He invented snow.
I don't think he invented snow.
Yes, the granddaughter in the beginning was like, "How does snow happen, Grandma?" And she's like, "Well, let me tell you." Woo. Yeah.
I'd have
it
to
happens.
watch that again.
And so, yeah. And so I went to Goodwill and I got this awesome, like, neon purple and pink airbrush. And I was like,
if you watched the show.
I got it for like $3 at Goodwill. Dude, I think I got this.
Well, you know what? I didn't think about this.
As well at Goodwill.
I didn't think about this, but we have probably already passed it, the 1 year anniversary of the idea of Let's Talk Boobs. Because there's really just two of us trying to make this whole thing work.
Yeah. When we really started, COVID happened, and so we really actually got to quarantine for quite some time, so we got to film a whole bunch. Like, the idea of Let's Talk Boobs and promoting it.
Pandemic?
Yeah. That's the only... Yeah.
Sorry we had to kill 250,000 people?
We didn't kill 250,000 people.
But it helped us
We killed this podcast. What?
But okay, so
yeah,
Die Hard, Christmas movie. Edward Scissorhands, Christmas movie. What's your favorite Christmas movie?
My favorite Christmas movie? Okay. It's ridiculous, and I don't think, I mean, if you have seen this, please let me know. Okay, real movie, not a cartoon movie, not a kid's one. Love Actually. I love that fucking movie.
That's a Christmas movie?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it takes a whole time. It takes a Christmas. I will watch Love Actually throughout the year.
I don't even know if I've ever seen it.
Also,
is that Ewan McGregor?
What? Okay.
Who's in Love Actually?
Hugh
Grant.
Hugh Grant. The guy who's the Hobbit. I don't know his name. I mean, tons of people.
Wait. The guy who's the Hobbit? Or the guy who was in...
He was not Frodo. He was the Hobbit. He was Frodo, not Frodo Baggins, but Bilbo Baggins. He was like Frodo's, because there was the Lord of the Rings movies, and then there were the Hobbit movies.
Is it the blonde dude?
Yeah. He's also Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, he's Dr. Watson.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Anyways, I should know his name. He's very popular, and he's awesome.
Homie. We'll call
he was
him
also in Fargo. He's been in lots of films.
No, he's good. I like him.
I love him. Anyway, tons of people. I can't even name you all the people. Who is the Walking Dead guy? Who's Rick? He's like English and young, and I'm like, oh my God, Rick is. I was like, I forgot Rick is. It's
Carl.
a great. Yeah. But anyways, that's my favorite.
That's funny. It's like that's my favorite show. I can't think of that Andrew Lincoln.
I have no idea.
Andrew Lincoln is his name. Yep.
And so White Christmas, we have been watching White Christmas, and we have watched it so much that we realize, like, when somebody's holding a glass and they put it down and then they go back to the glass, it was full and now it's empty, and they never touch the glass. Like, that's how many times we've watched White Christmas. And I remember us watching White Christmas for like the 8th year in a row, and my sister's friend Carrie was like, oh, that man is so gay. And we're like, oh, no, he's not. And then we watched him, we're like, Danny Gay is gay.
Who is Danny Gay?
Danny Gay. He's the tall blonde man. He's not Bing Crosby. He's the tall blonde man.
Danny Kaye?
Oh. Yep. So anyways. Is it Danny Kaye?
I don't know. We'll see.
So anyways, that is like, we always have to watch that together. And poor Jimmy, like, my husband, like, he was like, what the fuck am I watching right now? And he has to watch it every year. He just has to.
For her husband.
So that's but there's 3 parts to this question. I'm sorry I'm rambling. So there's the family movie.
A little ramble going on. This never happens.
My personal favorite movie, Love Actually. And then there is this little cartoon that I have loved since I was a kid, and it's called like the Trolls Christmas or the Trolls or something. But there's a song in there like, we're simple souls, we're trolls. And so these trolls, they get so mad because the elves, they never get love. They're under bridges. You know, people don't like trolls, so they try to ruin Christmas. And these elves, they're like,
you're really caught up right now. You're dancing. He's dancing with you. All right.
And then at the end they're like, we do love trolls. It's even in a song, and they're like, what song is it in? This country troll. And they're like, troll, the ancient Yuletide carol, fa la 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 la. And they're like, what? Let me say that. And they're like, then they help.
I bet there's a lot of movies that you really don't think are Christmas movies, but they kind of are.
And we're back. So, Hiney. So I have my like ultimate kids film or Christmas movie that I liked. I have the family one that we all have to watch together. And then I have my like ultimate favorite like adult one that you just love. So, give me yours. Shoot.
You know what? I had it so set on what it was going to be. And then I started thinking about it. And I was like, honestly, if I go for what my favorite one, maybe Scrooge, because Bill Murray.
That one's good.
And then.
But it's not, I don't own it yet, so it's not on my like watch list.
So when A Christmas Story became, see, I don't remember A Christmas Story from being a kid as much as I did as being a young adult. Yeah. Like it making a resurgence. And it was like, oh, it's a Christmas classic. And I was like, is it? It became a Christmas classic, but to me, it was almost like, I don't remember it from that time. And my dad is always referencing it to the lamp. Yeah. And all these other things.
To me, I think when it first came out, to me, it was more of an adult Christmas movie. So when it comes to be a movie classic, you started watching as you were a kid because your parents loved it and had adult like jokes to it.
I think
or like adult like
that
a
might
dry
be true.
sense of humor.
Yeah, yeah.
So then when it just, because it came out and your parents loved it so much, as you got older, you started to learn to appreciate it more.
But then the popularity, so then it was like an arc. It was like when it came out, it was like, eh. And then like young adult, one of my favorites. So it probably was my favorite at some point. And then
now it's not. I used to love it. Now it's not so much.
Some channels
it plays
show
all day, every day for 24/7 on Christmas Day.
And that's too much to me.
TBS,
it's like,
I think.
You can't do that. You can't give it a commercial.
Oh.
On some channel.
All right.
They're coming for us. All right. So
I highly doubt that.
So then
TBS, come get us. And then buy our show.
I think again, Home Alone. To me, I remember when Home Alone came out and it was such this big hit. And I was like, meh. But now I feel like I've missed Christmas if I don't see.
Yeah.
Not, I don't have to sit there and watch the whole movie, but I need to see
Like the
parts
funny
of it.
parts, like
I
where
need
they
to
all
see.
get hurt.
I need to see at least 10, 15 minutes of Home Alone every
Yeah.
year, or I feel like I've missed out. But if I had to pick a movie that I like as a Christmas movie, I would say Scrooged or Elf.
Scrooged. Oh, I just watched Elf.
And
Journey
and
loves
just
Elf.
because of the two people that are in it, Bill Murray is amazing, and
But it's also a hilarious, fucked up way of like the
oh yeah,
Christmas Carol, and
oh
it's
yeah.
so like Bill Murray's so funny. Have you? If y'all haven't watched Bill
But
Murray's
Elf
Christmas
is also
special
pretty
either,
fucked up, and I think that's
oh
why I
yeah.
like them too. They're kind of surreal.
Did you know that the writer of Elf was the writer for Mandalorian? You know the curly-headed dude who's the doctor in Elf, who's like, you have a baby boy. He's
Are
like the
you talking
meaty
about
Italian guy.
Jon Favreau?
Yeah.
Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah,
he wrote Elf.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Uh-huh. He either directed it, produced it, or wrote it.
I'm gonna have to I gotta check.
We're gonna
this
like
out.
fact check. Hold on.
This is funny because I go, who wrote Elf? And the picture comes up as Jon Favreau, but says David Birnbaum. So I'm thinking that he directed Elf.
Just say, what did Jon Favreau do for the movie Elf?
Directed.
Okay.
But he does write The Mandalorian.
He writes The Mandalorian?
And I think he's directed episodes, but he has other people that also direct episodes.
Nice.
Because
that was crazy. I didn't know that, but he's in it, so.
Right, because who's the George Lucas. George Lucas contacted Jon Favreau either after season 1 or during season 2 to help him with doing The Mandalorian because he was so impressed with what he was doing with it. Which for George Lucas,
I bet his ego went.
Yeah, because George Lucas kind of got mad at J.J. Abrams and the other guy
because they rewrote his movies.
Story. Yeah. So he was kind of like, "Fuck you guys."
Yeah.
You know? But then he reached out to Jon Favreau and said, "I'd like to help, be a part of it."
I love The Mandalorian.
It's
just
amazing.
Gonna say it's.
I will say
awesome.
When the baby.
And here's a little tribute. Look, he went to. You know what? He went on his own little vacation. This is kind of like the Mandalorian, the Ziphister, and he went on his own vacation.
They could
and
be
Baby
Mandalorians.
Baby Yoda was on vacation. He's like,
who knows?
Come with me, little man.
Maybe Zafista and Zathrusta, they could be Mandalorian. That could be Mandalorian.
They never take their mask off. They fight for the cause of Let's Talk Boobs.
What do they say? This is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
Done. So we've gone over our favorite movies. What is the food that you look forward to the most at Christmas that your family cooks, or just
it used to be pumpkin pie.
Really?
It really used to be pumpkin
pie. You do that
pie.
Thanksgiving though.
This is true.
But like Christmas is like the time.
So when I was a kid, though, the only time I ever got pumpkin pie was Thanksgiving and Christmas. So
same with my mom's dressing.
But as the older I got, the more sweets aren't really my thing that much anymore, and savory is definitely. And generally, there's enough people in my family to where the actual stuffing in the bird goes quick. And then there's like a little pan.
You do the stuffing in the bird?
Absolutely.
See, I don't think I've ever had it that way. I know that you can do it that way, but I've never had stuffing out of the bird.
But then the rest of it is like stovetop stuffing. So it's like, it goes from like being one of my favorite things that if I'm 4th or 5th in line, or I'm like, well, mashed potatoes.
So my favorite Christmas food. I mean, I only get it twice a year. I get it Thanksgiving and I get it Christmas. Is my mom's dressing, and we call it dressing. People ask,
but I think that's the difference: it's stuffing versus dressing. It's dressing you make outside of the bird, and stuffing you make.
That's what I thought. But the more I've moved around, the more I've talked to people. I think it's just where you're from.
It's just what it's called.
Yeah, because
I've
had people say it's called stuffing, and they have not stuffed in the bird because I've yet to have it stuffed in the bird. And from where I go, like up north, it's more stuffing, and down here, to me, it's more dressing. But like my mom's dressing there is no comparison, and like I finally learned how to cook it. But you don't have to worry about getting like the levels of dressing because her recipe, and I'm like, fuck, I need to learn how to like dumb this recipe down because it is like two pans this big.
Do you have dinner, supper, lunch? Because this is the thing too, though. I'll talk to some people and they'll go like Thanksgiving dinner. but they'll eat at 1:00. And I'll go, well, and then people are like, no, that would be supper. And I go, well, how no, supper and dinner to me are the same thing.
I call
So
it
then
dinner.
again, regionally,
Yeah,
what
I call
people
it
call
dinner. My dad calls it supper. My mom calls it dinner, but my dad calls it supper. He's always called
but
it
what
supper.
time do you eat? Do you eat
Oh, it
in the
varies.
evening?
It varies.
Do you eat in the evening? Or do
Well,
you eat for lunch?
Thanksgiving or Christmas, or just what do you call supper and dinner, whatever?
No, because some people will have what I would consider Thanksgiving at lunch, but they call it supper or dinner because it's
Oh,
a
no.
meal.
Funniest thing that Mom made for years was Martha Washington balls. And they were like these little coconut frozen, creamy, chocolate dip balls. And me and my brother and sister would make fun of my mom all the time. We're like, you want some balls in your mouth? You want Martha's balls in your mouth? And we would make fun of it.
Everybody wants
And Mom would make
Martha's
them every
balls
year.
in
And
their
it would
mouth.
be, and we're like, are you going to make Martha Washington balls this year, Mom? And she's like, I sure am. And like, we would just have just the most fun with it. But I can't think of like a distinct dessert that, like, Mom always asks us what dessert she wants us to cook, and I'm like, but Dad's is like lemon meringue pie, and I'm like, ugh, any kind of meringue pie. I'm like, it just,
what a weird thing to be one of them.
it tastes like a piece of foam on top of some boogers. I am not a meringue pie kind of person.
It could be if you took enough boogers and put them in a pan.
And then put some foam blocks on top of it.
But I don't think it would be lemon meringue. It'd be more
I've had
green apple.
Chocolate meringue is not bad. But
I didn't even know that was a thing.
I like pecan pie. Yes, I call it pecan pie because that's not a pecan next to your bed that you piss in. Anyways.
No, my dad loves pecan pies, and I you know what? I like a pecan pie too.
Yeah.
But the desserts things usually, I think at my family too, like my mom has a tendency to be she wants everybody to be happy.
My mom's a people pleaser too, so she cooks
if you
everything.
Have your dessert, yeah, I'm like, why are you? So
and then you have food for a whole week, and like we try.
Yeah.
We try to eat, and there's like, you have a whole pie for one person. Unless it's my dad, it's not gonna get eaten. Like, I'll have a piece. I'm like, oh,
I haven't been home for Thanksgiving in years because I was living in California, and so I missed Thanksgiving because a friend of mine told me that I could get a test immediately, and so I didn't end up getting my results in time and missed Thanksgiving. And then
I wasn't wrong. However, he was not showing symptoms, so he couldn't get a test.
I ended up having Hinee's giving, which the whole family, all 4 of them, my brother, sister, niece, nephew, my mom and dad, 6 of them. So they ended up sort of redoing it again for me. And she was like, I'm going to make you a pumpkin pie. And so I was like, well, that's cool. So in making the pumpkin pie, she goes, well, your brother doesn't like pumpkin pie, and it's not your dad's favorite, and the kids won't eat it. So then she made a chocolate cream pie. Well, we had the celebration, and there were 6 pieces of chocolate cream pie that went out. And I was like, this is exactly, I'm like, you don't have to make a pumpkin pie just for me.
Yeah.
But then I ended up having to do my best to eat as much of it as I could before I went back home. I'm like, wow, this is going to be a lot of pumpkin pie.
Yeah. What is your favorite Christmas memory? Funny, sad, happy?
Oh, no. I mean, honestly, the memory that I think always comes up now because of my brother, we were given.
Actually, whenever you're done, I have. Oh, yeah.
We were given pocket knives. I was like maybe 5 and he was 8. And I was trying to cut the sole of my shoe. And when I did, I missed complete because I didn't have anything else to cut. I was 5. And so then I decided to cut my thumb. And so I'm bleeding all over the place. And my brother's like, go into the bathroom and hide because we don't want the knives taken away from us. And I'm
just bleed out.
Yeah. And I'm like,
it's fine. You won't get in trouble. You'll just die.
I'm like, it's not stopping. And he's like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, it's like, it's
that bad. It was
blood everywhere. Blood everywhere. And so he's like, shit. Okay. This is what you tell mom and dad. Listen close and don't you fuck this up for us.
Bill, I'm going to hear your version later on.
And so I go, all right. He goes, you stuck your thumb in a Coke can, and when you pulled it out, you cut yourself.
How old was he at this time?
He was 8, 9, maybe.
It's not that
And
bad.
so then I'm like, Mom, Dad. And they're like, oh my God, what the fuck happened? We got to take you to the emergency room. And we were at my dad's family, because we'd always do mom's family, dad's family. And one of my aunts was sisters with an emergency room attendant.
You're there. Oh, I
Nurse.
thought you were just saying they were friends with the
Nurse.
emergency room. They're just like, hey,
Nurse.
emergency
And they're like,
room.
well,
let's be friends.
I'll call my sister and you go on and they'll be. And so I went in and you know how many times I've had to tell this fucking story of sticking, and everybody thinks I'm a complete fucking moron because I fucking cut my thumb open on Christmas.
You
with
still
a
haven't told them
can.
the truth?
No, my brother. So my brother's like, there's one, we're all hanging out or whatever. And he goes, we were talking about, he goes, oh yeah, like that time you got arrested in Myrtle Beach. And I'm like, they don't know that. He goes, what do you mean they don't know that? He goes, they got to know that. Like when you cut your thumb at Christmas. And I'm like, they don't know that either. And so like, my brother's like just tossing out like family secrets. And I'm like, now.
Bill, you're ruining the brotherhood.
So I'm like, now everybody knows that I'm an idiot and do stupid shit and lie to people.
So, okay, now I really do.
Oh, you lost one of your bones.
Oh, nope. Pause. Dude, we have a whole level of how drunk you are depending on events that have happened in my family's or friends' lives. So I forgot about Sister Christmas drunk. Oh, that's the drunkest
Nice.
you can possibly get. Like
Sister
if you are
radio.
compared to Sister Christmas drunk, oh boy. So I think this is the first time my sister had brought her boyfriend home, and I think my kid had already. She had already gone to bed. Like she had partied because she was a baby at this time. So then we were all wilding out. And I was hanging out with my friends because, every time I come home, my parents, like, they let us throw, like, a party with all of our friends that still live locally.
Their parents know how to put on a few drinks.
Well, and like, my friends are their friends, too. So they like to see my parents. My parents like to see them. And it's just a really fun, good adult get-together, just to catch up with people. And so, like, we're good to go. And my sister had gotten... my sister does not want kids, and she was like, well, if all babies are like your kid, I don't think that'd be such a bad idea. And I was like, oh no. That's when the sun was still up, and I was like, oh no. I was like, she is not sober because she does not want kids. And she said that she might. I was like, brother-in-law, I was like, you better keep an eye on her. And so me and my brother and my mom and my best friend, like growing up, my best childhood friend growing up, we were all in the living room. We were just all having a good time. I don't know if we had done a board game or we just all went inside.
You definitely played a game of some kind, guaranteed.
But I don't know if this was before or after. But we were all just sitting around the living room, and my sister had come out of her room that she's standing at my parents' house. It wasn't her like original room because we were standing there, and she just goes.
And she birthed it out.
We were like, sister, what are you doing right now? Like, are you okay? And then my mom freaks out. She's like, oh my God.
Seizure.
She's like, daughter, oh my God, are you having a seizure? Are you okay? Like, we started freaking out about it. Like, we were like, she just, a good 30 seconds, she was just like.
They've seen people on camera.
But she came out and what she said was, I just brushed my teeth. And that's what she said to us, and we were all like, what? What?
Well, at least she brushed her teeth.
Yeah. We were just like, well, thank God she's not having a seizure. And so, but we're just like, what the fuck is going on? And so we're like, brother-in-law, it's your first time here. We're like, she's not our problem this time. I was like, husband, he had to deal with that with me. And then all my family was like, she's your problem now. So he got initiated that night.
Nice.
So we have levels. We're like sister Christmas drunk. We have brother bachelorette party drunk. And then we have one of my best friends that lives in North Carolina, rehearsal dinner drunk. Those are the 3 levels of drunk. Because brother bachelorette party drunk was he just gets sassy and he wants you to do everything for him. He's like, make me a sandwich. and then best friend rehearsal dinner drunk, she's just sitting there just smiling, happy as can be, and just leans forward as her drink is just pouring on her feet. And then she does it again. It's pouring on my feet. And then she kicks over somebody else's drink and she's just smiling. Like, I would say she knocked over probably 5 to 7 drinks a night, and she's just like, what? Oh,
I can add in brother contact buzz.
I would like to end this episode with saying, really be safe, guys. I don't know what happened to our friend David. It could have been COVID. I've talked to a lot of my friends who live in New York, New Jersey, who know people who have died from COVID. Just be safe. Wear your mask.
Do the best you can, and don't be an asshole.
Over your nose. Wear your mask over your nose.
Don't be an asshole.
It's pointless.
And honestly, just don't be an asshole.
Yeah. Stay 6 feet apart during the baggage check, during the x-rays.
Right.
Stay 6 feet apart. Don't get right up on somebody. And I understand that
and if you have family members that are either elderly or have pre-existing conditions, please, for their benefit, try and do your best not just be around those people. Today was the first day that the Pfizer vaccine got accepted to be used in the United States. So we don't have that much longer to wait. We want as many people to live through this as possible.
Yeah.
We're almost there. We've all struggled through the last 9 or 10 months. If we just struggle through the next 3 or 4 months, we'll get to the point where people will really be able to get to be safe.
Honestly,
and then we can get back to being normal, and then we can go back to just licking each other's faces.
If you lick my face.
I'm pretty sure I've licked your face before.
Not before COVID. Or not after COVID.
Probably. We live in Nashville.
I have to see people for my job, and my job is very, very, very strict about COVID.
Right.
Like, we will lose our business if we do not follow procedures. All right, guys. So that was our Christmas teaser of what we're gonna do. And
that's a teaser?
That was
that's a hell of a teaser.
I know.
I wouldn't want to date that episode.
I know.
Like, fuck.
He would never last that long.
That's what I'm saying.
I know. Leave your comments if you think Die Hard or Edward Scissorhands is a Christmas movie. And you can leave your favorite Christmas foods or what you have to have for Christmas and your favorite Christmas memories. And we might
share... Christmas movie. Anything Christmas you want to put on this episode.
Exactly. We love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting us. And we are so sorry we've been absent for so long. But Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas.
From Boobs and Hiney. Mwah.